Good morning, students. Today we will start chapter number 3, Plant Kingdom. In the earlier chapters, we have studied the classification of all the organisms into 5 kingdoms, and we have covered the 3 kingdoms: Kingdom Monera, Kingdom Protista, and Kingdom Fungi. Now it's time to read the 4th kingdom, the Plant Kingdom. In this chapter, we will be studying the basic characteristics of plants and the various divisions of the plant kingdom, that is algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms, as well as types of life cycles found in plant and alternation of generation. In the previous chapter, we looked at the broad classification of living organisms under the system proposed by Whittaker in 1969, wherein he suggested the 5 kingdom classification: Monera, Protista, Fungi, Animalia and Plantae. In this chapter, we are going to study plant kingdom. We must stress here that our understanding of plant kingdom has changed over time. Fungi and members of Monera Protista having cell wall are now being excluded from plants and placed in their separate kingdom. So the cyanobacteria are also referred to as blue-green algae are not algae anymore. In this chapter, we will describe algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms under the kingdom Plantae. Let us look at the classification within angiosperms to understand some of the concerns that influenced the classification system. The earliest systems of classification used only gross superficial morphological characters such as habit, color, number, shape of leaves, etc. They were based mainly on vegetative characters or on the androecium structure. Such systems were artificial. They separated the closely related species since they were based on the few characteristics. Also, the artificial system gave equal weightage to vegetative and sexual characteristics. This is not applicable since we know that often the vegetative characters are more easily affected by environment. As against this natural classification system, it was based on natural affinities among the organisms and consider not only the external features but also the internal features like ultrastructure, anatomy, embryology and phytochemistry. Such a classification for flowering plants was given by George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. Hence, this classification is also known as Bentham and Hooker's classification. Other than this, Eichler's plant classification is also well known. At present, phylogenetic classification system based on evolutionary relationship between the various organisms are acceptable. This assumes that organisms belonging in the same taxa have a common ancestor. We now use information from many other sources too to help resolve difficulties in classification. These become more important when there is no supporting fossil evidence. Numerical taxonomy, which is now easily carried out using computers, is based on all the observable characters. Number and codes are assigned to the characters and the data are then processed. In this way, each character is given equal importance and at the same time hundreds of characters can be considered. Cytotaxonomy, that is based on cytological information like chromosome number, structure and behavior. Chemotaxonomy, that uses the chemical constituents of the plant to resolve the confusions and are also used by taxonomists these days. Let us start with the first division, algae. Algae are chlorophyll bearing simple thalloid, autotrophic and largely aquatic, both freshwater and marine organisms. They occur in variety of other habitats: moist stone, moist soil and moist wood. Some of them also occur in association with fungi known as lichen and on animals like on sloth bear. The form and size of algae is highly variable, ranging from colonial form like volvox to the filamentous form like eulothrix and spirogyra. A few marine forms such as kelps form a massive plant bodies. The algae reproduce by vegetative, asexual and sexual methods. Vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation. Each fragment develops into a thallus. Asexual reproduction is by production of different types of spores. The most common is zoospore. They are flagellated, hence motile, and on germination give rise to new plants. Sexual reproduction takes place through fusion of two gametes. These gametes can be flagellated and similar in size as in eulothrix, and non-flagellated and similar in size as in spirogyra. Such reproduction is known as isogamous. Fusion of two gametes dissimilar in size as in a species of Eudornia is termed as N-isogamous. Fusion between one large non-motile female gamete and a smaller motile male gamete is known as oogamous. Example volvox and fucus. This is a very important type of fusion, oogamous, in which female gamete is always non-motile and large, while male gamete is always motile and small. Algae are useful to man in variety of ways. At least half of the total carbon dioxide fixation on earth is carried out by algae. As we know, during photosynthesis, plants take in carbon dioxide and utilize it for making their food. Being photosynthetic, they increase the level of dissolved oxygen in their immediate environment. Hence, in aquatic habitats, algae is the important source for providing oxygen to the water for the other aquatic animals to breathe. Another importance is that primary producers are of energy rich compounds, which forms the basic food cycle of all aquatic animals. That is, algae itself provides food to all the aquatic animals present in its environment. Many species of Porphyra, Laminaria, and Sargassum are among the 70 species of marine algae that are used as food. Certain marine brown and red algae produce large amounts of hydrocolloids that are water holding substances. Example, algin is produced by brown algae and carrageen is produced by red algae, which are used commercially. Agar is also one of the commercial products obtained from algae Gelidium and Gracilaria that is used to grow microbes in laboratories and in preparation of ice cream and jellies. Chlorella, a unicellular alga, is also rich in protein which is used as food supplement even by space travelers. The algae is divided into three main classes: Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae, and Rhodophyceae. We will study the classification of algae in the next lecture.